Exposed Vegan Media Podcast. I am your host, Jaja Porter, a wife, mom, triathlete, and vegan chef. On this channel, you'll experience my ongoing docuseries capturing my swim, bike, run, and nutrition journey, featuring all the people I interact with along the way. We are back, and I can't believe it. We are finally at episode 10. Exposed Vegan Media has its 10th episode, and I cannot wait to share two of my amazing guests with you. Today, we're going to be talking to you about IRONMAN Chattanooga, one of my favorite races, and it just so happened to be their 10th anniversary. Let me introduce you to my guests, Kelly and Angie. Welcome.
Thank you, Jaja.
Hi, Jasha. Thanks for having us.
And oh my God, you both look amazing. You both are wearing your finisher jackets. You have your IRONMAN Chattanooga backgrounds there.
Woo!
And we have a Team Varlo bandana. I know that because I have one myself. So, was this planned?
No.
Nope. But we have more matching too, because we're still both wearing our bracelets.
Yes.
Well, this is an IRONMAN fact. You can't take it off until you register for your next one. It's the rules. It's written out there. If someone tells you it's not a fact, they're lying to you. It's an IRONMAN fact. You can't take it off until you register for your next one. So, but Kelly, I already know that you have one registered, but it means you have to register for another one. So you have to at least keep it on for a month or until it's like cutting your skin. It's an IRONMAN fact.
All I have to do is be friends with Angie, and then suddenly there are more IRONMAN races.
Because I what is it, convinced you to sign up for the next one? Extra husband, so we're doing the next one together as well.
Yeah. We bonded.
Kind of crazy friends to keep you doing crazy things. Yeah, it's awesome friends to have. So, all right, so let's get right into it. First, I'd like each of you, we'll start with you, Kelly. Can you tell me a little bit about your why? Why triathlon? Why multisport?
The easy question is because I can. Like, that's the easy answer. However, I think it is a little bit deeper than that, because triathlon for me is freedom. Triathlon for me is my time that's for me. I'm a teacher, an elementary school teacher, and I also teach yoga. And, so I spend I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I spend my life giving to others. And I do it with an open heart, and I would not change that about myself. But triathlon is just for me. So it's the one thing that I do that is all mine. And when I go out and I'm swimming and I'm biking and I'm running, that for me is my time of flow. That's my time where I'm kind of decompressing and putting everything all together. And I really enjoy it. So there's lots of reasons up in there.
I love it. And wait, I'm sorry, before we started, did you say this was your first podcast?
This is my first podcast. Yes. I
wouldn't know that. But thank you for sharing. Angie, please share with our audience. What's your why? Why multisport? Why triathlon?
Well, my why is a person, but then it had to turn into people, because I'm not going to be the grandmother that likes one grandchild over the other. But really, my why started out because of my grandson, who I always talk about, Chomp Chomp, and just wanting to be heart healthy for him. Now that I have another grandchild, I call her Little Miss. That's why I say Mimi of two. I still do this for my grandchildren so that they can see a healthy version of me. And the reason why I always put on different posts about my age is because I want to change the narrative of what someone my age, our age, can do. And my why started out with wanting to be heart healthy for my grandchildren, but it has just magnified so much because I inspire so many that it just is my way of like just giving back. And that's my why. Anytime I really feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I think of my grandchildren, and then I think of those people who are waking up with me at 4 a.m. to work out and say, here I am. So that's my why.
I love that. I love both of your whys, that time for yourself, because I'm a mom and a wife. And I love that triathlon allows me to have goals for myself. But then I also love, Angie, what you're saying, first it kind of starts with you feeling like it's about you, you and your grandchildren. And then when you're someone who's open and transparent and you share your journey, after a while, you realize over years, I'll say that it's no longer about me.
Yeah.
It becomes about the people who follow you, the people who've been inspired by you, the people that get off the couch because of you, the other grandmas that get up and say, Angie's doing it, let me do this, grandmas, grandma power
Yeah.
there to do things. So it winds up not being about us anymore. It's about the community and the tribe that we've developed over time that were inspired by you. So it's a wonderful why. It's wonderful that you both are willing to share. And I can't wait to get into your journey and your race and everything you're doing. So first, let me just ask, for both of your races, do either of you, let's start with you, Andy, do you have a coach? Do you race and train with anybody, a team or anything like that? Like how do you make this work for you?
I do have a coach. My coach is Coach Morgan Lattimore. He's been my coach from the very beginning. I say he took me from coach to Ironman in 0.2 years. And I just really think it's important to have a coach or some sort of system. And I'm going to talk about for me personally, because first of all, I was never an athlete. So not in high school, none of that. And then I'm menopausal. And then I don't know what I'm doing. So to have a coach to be able to direct me and also to keep me accountable, because he makes me feel like I'm 2 years old sometimes. Like if I don't do something, I just get like a 1-word text or something, and I'll be like, oh, that now at 9 o'clock at night I'm finishing off my run or or whatever. But just doing those things so it makes me successful. I do have a team, like how you were saying. I am with Team Barlow, which is an age group team. But when you're doing the triathlon, there are some people who like to train alone. I have a whole village around me. So I have my triathlon club here, which is my local triathlon club, Fayetteville Area Tri Warriors. I have my cycling club here, C4, Cross Creek, Cross Creek Country, cycling. I don't even really know their names. Just say my drinking buddies that cycle a little bit. And then we all know about the Fast Chicks, who they're a wonderful, phenomenal group of women who they're also a club. So those are the different clubs that I train with. But as for me, absolutely, I need a coach.
I love that you have a tribe, a range of folks. I feel like for me, it takes a village between we're the 4 a.m. crew, and I have 2 people that I see at the pool between 4 and 5 a.m. And I feel like they're waiting for me, even though I met them at Lifetime.
Yeah.
They didn't know me before that, but if I'm not there, they're like, did you have a race? Because I didn't see you. And they're, one is in their 60s, another one is in their 50s. And, I just feel accountable to them, because if I don't go to the pool, they're going to wonder what happened, and I have people that I cycle with, those that I, talk to online. So for me, it definitely takes a village to keep me going. And then the people I just check in with, like, I don't see you every day, but I feel like I talk to you every day.
Yeah.
You know, you check in with people on social media. So it's good to have a tribe of folks. Kelly, how about you? Do you have a coach? How do you train? Do you have a tribe of folks that you work with?
So I do. And it was just this year, like up until 2024, I self-coached. But after 2022, when I finished my first Ironman Maryland, I continued training. I did a marathon in Philadelphia after that and just kept going. And I ended up falling victim to something called a relative energy deficiency in sport. So this is when you've underfueled to a point that, like, for such a long period of time that your body can no longer respond to training. And I had a whole host of other like symptoms, and it just took me out of the game for a while. So when I came back, after we figured everything out, I decided I needed a coach. I needed someone to be accountable to, who was going to tell me when I was pushing too hard and when I needed to take the time to recover, because that was something I absolutely wasn't doing. So I finally learned to put some recovery into my life, and that was great. Eating enough food was definitely a huge thing that I had to learn this year too. But then, so my coach, Amy Mason, she works with Draper Training and Nutrition. She was my angel this year because she always knew the right things to say. Not only was she fantastic at planning my workouts and what to do with me physically, but she also has a really special knowledge of the psychological aspects of sport. And so, that's really where she is. I'm also with Team Varlo. So I have to say, like, my heart is with Team Varlo. And I have a local club that I'm the president of, the Central Jersey Tri Club. So we're looking forward to doing more things together next year. So all good stuff. I think it's important to have people. The support was really important for me this year. I was able to complete Ironman Lake Placid and Chattanooga. I feel like at this point, I'm back. I'm back and ready to go.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing your health journey. I think sometimes, that part is overlooked by some when they hear about, the swimming, the biking, and the running. There's a whole nutritional aspect where people say, that is the fourth leg of the tri. And then there's the mental piece. Sometimes that can take you out. You can be strong, but maybe not there mentally. So that's awesome that you were able to find, or both of you were able to find, someone to help you with that mental piece, say the right things, send you the right word in text message, help you to keep moving. Because I think the older we get, we can definitely continue to do that. But there's certain buttons that we need people to help us with. Sometimes it's that right word, the right things to say, and to help us not backtrack or help us with our confidence. I mean, we're still strong, obviously. You both are. But it's good to have that, accountability partner and a coach to help you move through. So I'm glad you ladies have found that through your journey. I have not found that yet.
Uh-oh.
Well, we just gave you 2 names.
You did get 2 names. I've had 2 bonks. So, hopefully that'll be something for me in the future. But so far, I'm like a couple in. So, I'm doing pretty well. So now let's get into the next phase of it. How was getting to the race course? First, why did you even choose Chattanooga? Kelly, we'll start with you. Why Ironman Chattanooga?
Well, number 1 was the downriver swim, and it's close. So I did the 70.3 in 2023, and I loved it. It was the fastest swim I ever did, and the bike was just beautiful rolling countryside, and I couldn't wait to go back. As soon as I finished the 70.3, I knew I was going to go do the full there.
I like I did 2024 70.3. It was my second 70.3. So I went back thinking it was going to be horrible. I didn't have the best attitude. I'm like, gosh, I don't even know why. And I had just finished Ironman Texas. So I was like, I don't know why I registered for this race. It's so hard. So I had really bad attitude with people. So I apologize for those that I spoke to. The mood. But I didn't think that was my second 70.3, was like 8 years ago. Which is why
Big difference.
I was in such an attitude about it. Like 14 later, we go back and I'm like,
It was enjoyable.
the bike course was so pretty. I had done 50 million hills since then, so it wasn't, as bad. And the run course is pretty, especially for the 70.3. I mean, for me, I wasn't in the dark, in the 70.3. So I totally loved it. So I agree with you. I think that's why I agreed to do the full with John, because I love the 70.3. Like, I think it's a beautiful race. I'm actually want to do it again this year.
But there's not Barton in the 70.3. So there's
Right.
a little bit of a fake out there,
I didn't remember that part. Like, I was,
because it's not in the half. It's only in the full.
forgot that part. I forgot
whole
that part.
backside.
A bad attitude about it. So again, I apologize. When I tell you I had such a bad attitude at check-in, like, why are we here?
It's a great way to start a race. Yeah.
So I apologize to anybody. Just sign up for 70.3. It's a beautiful race. But Angie, why did you choose Chattanooga?
So nobody probably knows this, but Chattanooga is a pivot race for me, because the race that I actually wanted to race is Cozumel. With Cozumel, it's not a wetsuit swim. And my goal for this year, and it kind of makes me a little bit sad, but my goal was to swim well enough to do Cozumel. But I had to get a new job. And so that's the whole thing when you're an age group athlete, like life happens, right?
Boom.
So I had to get a new job. Well, not had to get, but I got a new job. And the job had an hour and change commute each way. I'm a nurse. So every time I worked, it was at the very minimum a 17-hour workday. And it's very, very hard work. So I couldn't train. I couldn't swim. And with me not being able to get the swims in that I needed, I had to do a race that the swim was going to be not a factor for me. So that's when I had to choose Chattanooga. And I realized that it was hills. So I was like, okay, let me start working on hill train. Like it changed everything. Like with me having that different job from January to June, it changed everything of how I had to train. Yeah. So, but that's still, people are hearing it on your podcast first, Jaja. That's still one of the things, like that is my goal race is Cozumel. And I'm going to get there. Like, it's not next year because I'm doing California next year, but I'm going to get there. I am going to get there.
Well, as soon as you sign up, let me know and I'll go with you.
Don't make me cry.
It's my favorite race, my favorite course. I will try not to cry myself. My mom's ashes are there.
Oh my God.
Oh.
So, I have not been back since I took her ashes there because she asked me to take her to Mexico. And the first time I did it. I was 3 minutes over the cutoff. And she has told me, like, she loves Mexico. We grew up in Southern California. Majority of her friends are Mexican. I thought when I was growing up that I was Mexican. You couldn't tell me that I was. Lost child. Anyway, podcast. But I ate Mexican food half of my life, love Mexico. So when my mom passed away, she died of cancer 2 years ago. She asked me to take her ashes there. And so when I did Cozumel again, and John and others went back with me, my mom's ashes are there.
Oh God!
When I go back, so when you register, let me know, and I will go back. And she's on the side where it has the most wind,
the east side.
So yes, the side where you feel like you're dying, but it's beautiful. And so that's where my mom is right now. So
wow.
When you're ready, I would love to go back with you because it is one of those courses that I always have to work. I always feel like I have to work on my swim, but you feel like you're swimming in an aquarium. Like it is the most beautiful swim, but I would never tell anybody to get in, ocean water that is not comfortable. So, you'll get there.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that, Angie. Being a grandma of two, I know you're getting time. When you do, let me know. Just send me the I registered, and I'll be like,
Okay.
okay, me too. I'm just one that loves to race with people. I think
Yeah.
that's half of my races because of others. So
And
yeah, let me know.
Kelly probably's like, okay, I'll do it too.
I was gonna say that. I just feel like I'm always copying Angie.
Oh God.
Yeah, you
Me
will have to
too.
take a
Me
tribe
too.
with us. I'll need a tribe with me anyway because that's an emotional place for me. So
Mm.
I love Cozumel. As soon as you're ready to go, let me know.
And it's sort of like, even though it's yourself, like it sort of was embarrassing to me. Like, I didn't let people know that, that I was doing that. So that's why I'm like, well, I'm just gonna like be open and let it out on why. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing what you said about your mom. And I definitely have to do it now.
Now you
But it's going
do.
at the earliest is 2026, girl.
I'm with you. Just let me know. Just send me
Okay.
the registered.
Mexico 2026. Here we go.
All right.
Yeah. And people ask, like, how do you have your races already planned? It's because of things like this.
This is
Like,
right.
how do you already know what you're doing in 2025, 26, 27? It's just, the people I hang around with that inspire you to do
Yeah.
things. So, let me know when you're ready.
All right.
Maybe me and the kids. So, yeah. All right. So, let's talk about Chattanooga. So, there was no swim. You both prepared for that, but there was no swim. Let's talk about it. Let's go to you first, Angie. How did you feel when you found out? And do you feel like Ironman made the right decision?
You tell the truth because I know it.
I promise you, I was not sad about that. I was not sad, not one little bit. I was like, yes. I had so many people upset with me, and I was dancing. I was dead. I was doing flips. I was moonwalking, all of that. I was so happy. Now, I will say that I prepared for that swim. Like the week before, I had 4,500 yards or meters. My pool's in yards, 4,500 yards. So you always race what race day gives you. So the whole, not ready for the swim. Oh, I was ready for the swim. I'm never going to go into a race and feel like I'm not ready. But I was just very excited. And then Kelly will be able to tell you, because we were together all the time. The water, what is that? The Tennessee River, whatever. I don't know what the brand name of the water is. It was moving so fast. It was big logs, debris. Because remember, it was the hurricane. It was even treacherous getting there. Like, you talk about like getting there. I almost couldn't even get there. That's how bad it was. So Ironman, in my humble non-swimming opinion, made made the best call to cancel that swim.
How about you, Callie?
I
How
have
do you
to
feel?
agree. So you're going to learn too much about me today. So I've also been through 2 hurricanes where my house is flooded up to the first floor twice. So, I mean, like one during the last one, Hurricane Ida, like the river was like up against my, right up, like up to my front door. Like I woke up in a river. So flooding and hurricanes are something that do not go well with me. So Wednesdays I was like packing up. Here we're getting ready to go on a plane to go to a hurricane. And my husband is texting me going, "Are you really sure about this?" And I was like, "I'm not sure about anything. However, here's what I do know is that I've been training since January because I did Lake Placid too, right? And just rolled that training. Like I have been training all year long and I want to go to this race. So we have a hotel that has a kitchen. So my plan is we are going to get there. We are going to go food shopping and then we are going to be prepared to hole up in that hotel. That's it. The worst comes to worst, we are in a hotel in Chattanooga for a hurricane, right? And if the race happens, then yay, I'm there. If the race doesn't happen, Well, we were in a hotel in Chattanooga for the weekend. Maybe it was kind of nice. I don't know. So,
Yeah. I
so
showed my husband in your hotel. I was like, babe, we have to go to this Marriott. Look. He was like, oh, so you want to go to the race so you can go to the Marriott? Like,
I took
there's
my
other
room.
Marriott. I'm like, I know, but it's like a suite. Look, she has a hole in the Marriott.
I took
Has
my room. Oh, that was not the room that I picked. I had this like mansion. I had 2 hotel rooms. I had like an entire, like I had a couch for like 14 people. I could have had breakfast for all of Team Varlo. I had a full-size kitchen because FEMA took the room that I had with the kitchenette. And so I called them in between airplanes and was just like, I am doing an Ironman and I need a kitchen. Can you confirm that my new room has a kitchen? I was very nice about the whole entire thing. They were so lovely. And they were like, listen, we're going to call and we're going to make sure that you have everything you need. We walked into that hotel. I was like, what? So look, if that race wasn't going to happen, we had the best hotel room ever. So
I've ever.
so getting there, it was like the thing. And when the swim was canceled, I mean, I wanted that fast swim, but I know what it's like and what it means when an area floods. We're not talking about that, like there was no rain in the area, so some athletes were a little upset because they didn't understand. But the water that was coming into that river was coming from other places where there was a tremendous amount of rain. Like that water was moving fast. They would not have been able to control the vessels for safety crew. Like you would have had swimmers like swimming into each other, swimming into boats, swimming into kayaks. Like that would have been so dangerous. So they made the right call.
So I will say this. I did that race. I don't know if it was the half or the full, and they had a storm and got in that water. It wasn't a hurricane, but it was, some rain. And they were deciding whether or not they were still going to have the swim. And of course, people really wanted them to have it. They wind up still having the swim. I got out of that water feeling so sick. Like I think I some of the water, my stomach was hurting, the bike and run. And in my head, when I saw the hurricane, I was like, I hope they cancel the swim. Not because, of the storm and fast. I was just like, I was in fear of you guys being in the water and there be toxins in
it's
there.
bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
The bacteria and you all being sick because I experienced that and it sucked. So I was just like, I hope they cancel the swim. So I was dancing with you, Andy, like, I wasn't even thinking about this. I just didn't want you guys to be training. And then you've been doing all that hill climbing and everything. And then you're sick for the whole 140. Is for 15, 16? How many miles was it this time?
So this year it was 107. So it went even.
Wow.
Yeah. So instead of it being the 112, it was only 107.
That's still a long ride. That is not
It's still long.
It still counts.
And that's a long time to have your stomach hurting.
Exactly.
So, I was very concerned about that. I was happy your swim was canceled too. Sorry. I didn't want to be sick like I was. It was horrible. So let's get into the bike. How did they start the race, Kelly? Like,
I have to tell you the funniest story about the bike because we expected it to take forever. They were going to go rack by rack. Do you remember this, Angie? We were just hanging out. We were just talking to people. You didn't have to be in transition until like it was your rack that was going to be called. We were like, hey, let's go to those porta potties that are way over there that nobody's at. We were hanging out with folks that were just there to like spectate the race that day. Finally I'm like, listen, I'm going to go hit the porta potty one more time. I think we should go in soon. I think we were both in the 800s. So I think somebody said they were at 500 or 600, something like that. So we were like moseying our way over there.
Though.
What?
Really quickly, like, so they went by your bib number is how they sent you off. And so with us being like 800, we expected, to be a while. It was like minutes.
Yeah. So like, I got to my bike rack. I don't know if you had the same experience, Angie, but we were just hanging out, and then I get to my bike rack. Everybody's gone. The only bike there. I'm like, oh no! But they said you can't go earlier, but you can go later. So if you missed your rack, like it wasn't a huge big deal, but it was like I probably in my 800 bib ended up going with like the 1200s, 1300s, something like that. Because I get to the rack, I'm like, my bike is the only bike here. What were we doing?
So
Y'all just hanging out like y'all don't
We were hanging out. Oh, listen, we were taking pictures. That's what happens. Because if you go anywhere with Angie, everybody stops you. One of my favorite things of the weekend was being Angie's friend. Because I would just be like, yes, let me take your picture. Yes, that's Iron Mimi. Would you like a picture? Like,
Well, I mean, it's how all of us knew what was going on. So,
but no, but the thing about it is though, I had said, oh, this will make me feel so good because I'm going to be leaving out, with other cyclists and everything. And I get back and I'm like, it's just like I swam, like, was all of the bikes were gone. Normally when I get back in from a swim, all of the bikes are gone and it's just my one bike in transition. That's how it was.
How did we mess this up? How did we mess this up? That's all I asked myself when I got to that bike. I was like,
one job.
One job. To your rack. I had met everybody at my rack. Like I knew all the people. We were all
around
together.
Rack, all around the racks. We were
all together. I was like, I'm gonna see you on the course. I'm gonna see you on the course. I'm gonna see you on. I didn't see those people on the course.
We're all gonna start together. Y'all are not gonna leave me. I'm not gonna get out last because I know I'm always last out of the swims.
She was
so like, we're excited. Still, everybody's gone.
Everybody was still gone. It was the same difference.
Wow.
Oh my God. I said, this is like, what is going on? Just hanging out. And I'm still, my bike, I still easily found my bike because my bike was the only one all around, everywhere.
So we funnel into like our lanes, like you get into lanes and it's like, and I'm not with the 800s, but you get in the lane and it was actually very organized the way that they did it because you got on the bike. It wasn't a crowd of people. They let 4 or 5 people go every 5 seconds and they were staging the people who were going next so that it was like they literally were going off every 5 seconds. Nobody was fumbling on their pedals. They were already on their bike just waiting for the beep to go. So it was really well organized, I thought.
I thought so.
Especially for the people who got to their bikes in time.
I did that with 70.3 Virginia. I think they had or Eagleman. One of them, they canceled the swim. And but they had us go with our age group. Oh. So it wasn't by numbers, it's with your age group that we went like a couple at a time. And it was fast. So when you guys were saying that, I was like, oh, they're going to start fast. So like when you're part, I'm like, I wonder what happened there.
You're taking pictures. I was drinking a little more coffee. Eating banana.
And the thing about it is, I mean, the way we had to like rush, like we're like my heart rate is at 200, running to this damn bike, trying to get on because everybody's gone.
You done took all the pictures, told everybody you there, and everybody's gone. You're like, well, maybe not. Start.
Angie, I'm now wondering if we really should do more races together. I'm not sure if this is a great influence.
Oh my God, it was. That really happened, man. Like we almost did not start because here we are thinking it's going to be a long time, and it was not. The efficiency of the Ironman staff to get everybody through. I mean, totally kudos.
Yeah, they do a good job. So tell me, Angie, what the bike course was like. How did you feel? Let's talk about the first 56 miles because it's 2 loops, right? 2 loops?
No, it's 3.
3. Oh, so tell me about your first loop, like how you felt.
So, you go out maybe like 5 miles. I guess it would be about 5 miles, and then you get on the highway. So the whole bike course is on a highway, and one side of the highway is basically downhill and the other side of the highway is uphill. And the one thing that I will say, there was a lot of people talking about they didn't like the bike course because it wasn't scenic. I am not one of those people when I race to look around and enjoy the view. Like, me being on the highway was like perfect for me. Because all I'm trying to do is get these miles in. I'm not looking to see this and that. But as far as like my first loop, yes, it was the hurricane, and so we raced all day in the rain, like just torrential downpour, and it was a little bit scary going down because you're on the highway, and I think I got up to probably 35 or almost close to 40 miles an hour going downhill in the pouring rain. But when you whip around to the other side, it's a maybe, I don't know, 7% incline, some craziness that you're almost standing still going the opposite way. On the first loop, I was very, very, very surprised to see spectators out there. I always get like caught up because when people who don't know you are out there cheering for you, and it was pouring rain out there, and they were on the highway, and before the race they said there's not going to be any spectators out there. Remember they said that, Kelly?
Yes, they did.
Those spectators said, oh, I don't know who the heck you talking to.
They found every overpass.
Everywhere.
Oh,
They were lined up. So, when you go through your first loop, you're like, oh, this might not be that bad. I can do this. And then I guess, Kelly, you want to take it away for loops 2 and 3? Oh, God.
I thought I was so looking forward to the old course. So I was kind of upset too about the change in the course and it all being on the highway. But it was raining.
So course. It was so that part where it's scenic, that's gone.
That's gone. You don't go there anymore. There's no more Georgia. So it's all this Highway 27, and you're on the interior part of the highway, and it's seriously one lane, cones, and traffic. And we're not talking just cars. Like, there were tractor trailers. There were a couple times I was going down the hill pretty fast, and
yes,
I'm on the inside, and the tractor trailer comes like blowing right by me, and I'm like, oh, because it shakes you a little bit. And I think that with 3 loops, the concern would be that we would start overlapping each other a lot, that it would have been congested. I didn't ever feel like that was the case. I felt like it was spread out enough. Mm-hmm. And I liked that after the first loop, I now knew where I wanted to take advantage of the downhill next up. Right? So it was almost like then I was racing myself the next loop, see if I could go, like, oh, I could do that one better next time. I'm going to get moored from the downhill so I don't have to pedal as hard up the other side. So you started to learn where those were. You then knew where the aid stations were. You knew where the fans were going to be, the spectators. So you had like little tiny points that you were able to keep in mind, like, oh, this is coming next. This is coming next. And it keeps your brain busy when you're able to do something like that. So as much as I was upset that they had changed the course, I actually liked it. And I thought it was really fast, too. It was really fast.
The first loop allowed you to plan better for the second and third, basically.
Yep.
I think so.
Okay.
And I will say, and Kelly was talking about knowing where the aid stations were, but more so just like where the aid stations were, and also the bike special needs, they closed off the entire highway at that point.
Yeah.
So like the full highway is closed off. So there are no cars at all. So it was 100%. I know you don't want to say 100%, but for it not to be any cars whatsoever on the highway when you're pulling over to get the aid stations or pulling over to get the special needs, and not just there, like for a while up. Because just think, if the highway is closed, how soon the next exit would be. So you're on a closed highway for miles
It was.
before cars, come back on. So that was very advantageous because remember, it's raining, it's uphill, people are sucking, but you have, even though you're not supposed to, it's supposed to be like one behind the other, but you can have like 8 people across, because like that's how wide the highway is. Because if somebody is struggling to get, well, that's how it was.
I have to tell you about a major win on the bike.
Oh,
In the
please.
second loop, as we were going the uphill, Angie.
Okay.
Right? On the way back. A bike in front of me ejected a bottle. And when I tell you that it spun in front of me like spin the bottle, and I had to make a decision in seconds. Am I going to keep going straight? Am I going left? Am I going right? What am I going to do? I got to get around this thing. It's just spinning and spinning and spinning. I went right. The bottle went right. I was like, oh no, I am going to have to hit this thing. I hit the bottle. I went right into the bottle. I skidded, somehow corrected, and did not fall down. And I was like, whoa.
I was like, what?
No way. I did not fall down from a bottle. I ran over the bottle and didn't fall down. And I was like,
pouring rain.
No matter what happens today, I am winning. I shook for the next 5 miles though,
Yeah.
adrenaline. I mean, and I'm screaming at everybody I passed. I hit a bottle. It didn't fall down. I'm like,
Everybody you see, how you doing? I hit a bottle. I'm still alive.
every person I passed for 5 miles after that. Back there! Oh, I hit a bottle! I'm still here!
And then I would have been the one unplastic. Like, really? Wow, you're still here.
I'm here! I'm still racing! One girl was like, your core is so strong. Yes, it is.
Like, you need these conversations for 107 miles. Like, you need that. Like, really? Like, where? And it was spin to the right or the left. Like, you're having...
Which way's gonna go? Which way? Which way?
Shasha, please remember, it's raining. It's raining in all of this.
All day.
All day.
All day.
Right, but y'all made it. I was tracking both of you. So you get to transition. You're finally transitioning with other people. And now you're going to the run. What was that like, Angie?
So it was really good for me. This is a triathlon, so I'm going to just say I've been practicing my nutrition, and I felt incredibly good about my nutrition plan for on the bike and for also on the run. On the bike, my nutrition was top notch. I already knew that my run was going to be great because it was raining. So I didn't have to worry about using a porta potty to get off the bike, So I was well hydrated. I had all of my nutrition and I felt really good. Felt strong. So it was just about, I didn't even change my socks into another pair of socks because they were so wet. We were just so wet that it didn't even matter to put on another pair of dry socks. Like they would have just been wet within moments, for running in the rain. And Kelly will even be able to tell you they even had to change up the run course at the very last minute because of flooding. So they did a lot. They did a lot for us to be able to even do that race, and I thank them for that.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't realize they changed the run. I didn't realize it was still raining while y'all were running.
Oh,
you
yeah.
couldn't tell by the times because you guys were moving. I wouldn't have known that you were in the rain. I was like, oh, she's doing well. I was looking at both of you. I was like, okay, they're doing good. Knowing the course and not knowing that the course had changed and not realizing that y'all were in the pouring rain the whole time. You wouldn't have known that by the tracker, that you don't get that from the tracker. How did you feel transitioning to the run, Kelly?
I had my fastest transition time ever. I finally oh my gosh. At first, this is the first time I wore a one piece. I've never done that before. I always wear two piece. That's no longer it. I'm no longer doing that because it was the fastest transition ever. I had no socks on the bike. So it was literally like, and I went into the tent and the volunteer that came to me, she was just like, what do you need? I'm like, I need to get out of here as fast as possible. She dumps everything out and she's like, how can I help? And it was like, literally, I'm like, I need water in that bottle. I need like, and I was out of there, I think in like 3 minutes. And that I have never, my tri club makes fun of me because like, all right, they always say that I must order a sandwich in transition. Like, what are you doing, Kel? Did you order a sandwich? Like, are you having a picnic? Like, what is happening in transition? How did you get 15 minutes in an Ironman for transition? What did you do? And honestly, sometimes I come out of there and I'm like, I don't know. It was all a blur. I just I sat down for a second and I talked to somebody and I'm like, like an athlete comes in next to me. I was like, how did you feel about the bike there? Like, you need chamois cream? I got chamois cream. Hold on, let me look through this bag and let me find it for you. Would you like me to put it on? Like, I don't know what I do, but that was my plan. My goal was, you are going to tighten up these transitions this year. There are no sandwiches in transition. So I was like, I was on fire. And whoever was my volunteer, I wish I knew her name. She was fantastic because she read me right away. She was like, I know what you're doing. What do you need? Let's go.
We're going to hope that she sees this podcast and knows that getting you straight, not eating a sandwich really did it for you.
Yeah. They were like, oh, thank you, girl. That's it. I don't know. And then we got on the run. I felt really good the first half. But then when we got to Barton, I was like, what? Because it literally is like, you can't see my hand. It just goes up. And it goes up for a really long time. And I train hills. At some point, I was just like, I am not blowing myself out trying to run up this hill. Like, I'm going to walk up. And I've practiced speed walking. So it's not that I'm not walking a 20-minute mile. I am trying to walk a 15 minute mile when I'm walking. So I think I didn't do too bad at that. But the second time I came around, I needed to make a friend. Like, I needed a friend. And sometimes you just do. Like, you hook onto the right person that says the right thing to you. There was this man, his name's Richard Haraway from South Africa. And I was running by him and he was eating a sandwich. And I commented on his sandwich and he said something to me and I could tell that his accent was completely South African. And I went, oh, are you from South Africa? And he's like, why, yes. Like, how'd you know? So we shared some stories. My sister's in-laws, they're all from South Africa. So my brother-in-law is from South Africa. And so then we had something in common. He was an ultra runner. So he said, I was like, I think I'm going to walk. And he's like, you don't need to walk. We're just going to chop some wood and we're going to get to the end of this race. So, and he even got me to run up some of the hills that I did not want to run up. And then out came the chicken broth and then I was all good. So,
yeah. That chicken broth will save you.
Yeah.
Angie, how did you feel with Barton?
Oh, I didn't like it at all. I trained hills. I trained a lot of hills. And Barton was like, you ain't trained Barton. So I just...
It's like not even a hill. It's just a mountain.
But it's not even... I don't even know if it's Barton. It's something beyond Barton. It's just terrible. So only thing I did was... my thing was to run the flats and walk the hills. The hills seem to be a little bit longer, so I'd say, okay, if I can see the top of the hill, then I'll start there instead of like walking the whole thing. But if I can see like other people like on the other side, then I'll run to that part as well. But then as I was running, I was like, but I'm not like really tired, so I think I'm just kind of feeling a little bit lazy. Let me like kind of do something. And I met a friend too. And so we were going back and forth. Like, you have to meet people, like by mile 18, 19, you need to meet a human friend so you don't meet Jesus, because Jesus and all of them be coming out. So I needed to meet somebody for real so that Jesus wouldn't be knocking on my door. So just finding a person and a couple of people, and we walk together, we run together, and we made it. But I will tell you, very, very early on, that kept me motivated. I was at I was at mile 5, and this superwoman was at mile 18, Tiencia James. I'm running. I think I'm running, and she just blows by me like I'm standing still. But I can hear her behind me encouraging me. Oh, you're doing so good. I'm like, who is this person that I can feel the engine from their sneakers encouraging going by me? And here she says all that. She is smiling, and then she was gone. Like, she was gone. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's a whole half marathon in front of me. So I wanted, like, just kind of like keep going. Even, I'm gonna say it was like for me to see her strength. I was like, if she's that strong at mile 18, like, I want to get to that. That was very important for me.
I have seen Tenencia. I saw her at Ironman 70.3 Chattanooga when she got a flat. Coming behind me. For one, I was like, why and what earth are you ever behind me? First of all, what were you doing back there?
Yeah.
And she told me, come on, and then just move. And I never saw her again. Until the finish. And she was done for a while. And then I came in. And I was like, is that her? But then I saw her kit, and I'm like, what was she doing? I was like, mechanical. Had to be mechanical.
Yeah.
There's no way that she would ever be behind me. And now she's uphill going past.
Yeah.
Yelling at me, still way back here. So come on. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get there. So
Yeah, she actually earned world championship slot at Chattanooga. And I was there to see it and take the pictures, because
Oh, it was your turn to be the photographer.
Yes.
Yeah, she did it at the 70.3 that she got her half there. And she mentioned that she was focusing on not walking Barton. So she had a whole mission. I'll have to talk to her about that, see if she definitely completed what she wanted to. But
she did. She told me. She told me at the breakfast. She said that her children and her hubby were at the top of Barton. So they were like, oh, Mom, you said that you weren't going to walk. And so they kept her motivated. And that's why she had to run. So she ran the whole race.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. Oh, I don't know how many times. Did she tell you how many times she's completed Chattanooga?
No, but she said it's her most favorite race. She was so chill and calm, and she had all new stuff. Like, she was buying new sneakers at the expo to wear for the race the next day. She was just, she's just a vibe. Just a vibe. So, I mean, and all of that, like I said, that positive energy, like how fast she was running, and she was talking, and like not out of breath. That's where I was like, I want to be like that when I get to mile 18. And that's what I had strived to be. Yeah.
So you both obviously made it, because that's why we're in matching finisher jackets.
Yes.
Angie, tell me, what was the finisher shoot like?
So the finisher shoot for me, the very first Ironman that I did, which was Maryland 2 years ago, it was such an emotional finish. I even watching it now, it makes me cry. This year, I felt, and I had even talked to my coach. I said, I don't know what it is. I'm not trying to disrespect the mileage, and that's before the swim was canceled. But I felt so confident going into the race. Like, I I felt like I was prepared. I felt like I could do everything that I could to be successful. So when I was coming down the finisher chute, and then I was looking and I was like, man, I didn't even, like, I did it before like 11:30. Like I came in at like 11:26. And I'm like dancing down the finisher chute. It was absolutely amazing. And it felt good to, there's nothing like your first. There's nothing like your first. But for this to be like a validation for me that, yes, I can do this distance. Yes, I was prepared. Yes, I can like really enjoy and soak in this moment. That's how you know that it's like a drug. Because it's like, I got to do it again. I got to do it again.
And it's not a fluke, right? It wasn't like,
It wasn't a fluke. Even though people would be like, well, the swim was canceled. Well, you know what? It would have been a fast swim anyway. So even if I had to swim, just tack on like maybe another hour and a half to my time. And that's still so much faster than I finished Merlin, which was flat. Like my Merlin time was 15 hours and 50 seconds. And this time was 11 hours, 26 minutes, which was a hilly course. Yeah, so it just shows like the level of strength that I've gained in the year, and my training. So that's what, like, it really was me versus me. So I'm celebrating that. Yeah, like I did this for me, you know.
and when you know, I mean, I've said this in other, podcasts, when you know who you're training against and you really have your own personal goals, like that is something, to definitely celebrate, where you started and then where you are now. It's so important to look back and see how far you've come and the journey that you've been on. And that's why sometimes it's no longer about you anymore, because you've inspired so many people to continue to move forward. So that was amazing. I was so excited to see you cross the finish line. And plus it wasn't late. So I was like, it's past my bedtime. I gotta go to bed. Oh, thank you, Angie. I won't be up late. That was another reason why I was glad y'all's swim was canceled. Looking at the phone, trying to capture y'all picture to post. So yeah, you looked happy going through. So I was so excited for you. Kelly, how was your finish line experience?
But it was really epic because, when I was healthy and when I knew I was healthy enough to continue training this year, like my first big race was Lake Placid. And that was a really hard course. And I knew that was going to be a hard course for me, but it put the time into the hills and I did the best I could do. But I was a 16-hour finisher at Lake Placid, and from Maryland coming off I think I had like a 1250 or something in Maryland, so to go from that to, the benefit to being a 16-hour finisher, because I got a high five from Mike Riley on the way into the swim in the morning.
Nice.
And I got a high five from him on my way down the red carpet at the end of the night,
Nice.
too. But I was still proud of that performance because it meant I was back. But then my training shifted after Lake Placid. Now I want to build and I want to get faster. And I want to go to the less challenging course now, strong and feeling like I can go. So when I rolled up and I was somewhere, I knew I was around like 12 hours, I couldn't have been more thrilled. Plus I made this friend, and Richard, it was his first Ironman. He was right behind me. He's like, go, I'm going to go ring that bell. I was like, you ring that bell. I'll see you on the other side. So I did my whole thing down the finisher chute. And then I got my medal. And then I was like, wait, he's right behind me. And this is like the first time it has ever occurred to me to turn around and wait for somebody else. I grabbed I asked the volunteer, I'm like, this guy, can I get a medal for him and can I put his medal on him?
Oh my God.
And so when Richard came across for his first Ironman, I was like standing there with his medal and I got to put it on him, He pushed me and I pushed him, and I wrote a story about him and said how, I don't know how much running I would have done in that second half of the run if it weren't for meeting up with him. So I feel like he really saved my race. And he was like, I don't understand how we went through the same experience and have different stories because I think you saved mine.
Oh gosh.
You know, that's why I love this sport.
Yeah.
Everything about it. The humans that are out there doing this kind of stuff just to be better versions of themselves. You know, just to prove that, like, I am strong, I am capable. And, you know, once you know that, then not only can you help yourself, but you can help everybody around you.
Yeah.
You are that strength. So.
I mean, you helped me at Placid. Remember I told you I was dying?
You were dying, and I just watched you bomb down the Keene descent. You went flying past me. So now I catch up to her. I was like, Jaja, you just bombed down that hill. She's like, and you look like you were like almost in tears here. And she was like, you don't know how much it means to me that you noticed that because I worked really hard on that.
Well, what people don't realize, like when I was 17, I broke both of my legs. I have a pin in my knee and a pole in my leg, and I fell off a bike. I hit a telephone pole, broke my kneecap, and fell to the ground and broke my thigh bone. And so for a child, I started off with all the flat courses because I was scared of descents, like mentally. And then it took over time for me to like be able to descend. And I have done, I've done Chattanooga and others, but once I got to the hill, downhill, I would hold on to my brakes like the whole time. And I think it was Ariel who took me to Pilot Mountain and was like, you need to, like, told me how to brake and how to do other things. And I was just like, I literally was screaming the whole time, and he just left. And I was just screaming at the top of my lungs. And I was like, I have to do this. There's no way that I can do Placid holding my brakes the whole time. So I was there like almost every other weekend, go to the top, climb to the top, and go to the bottom without trying to hold my brakes the whole time and just pump them. So once I got to Placid, I was just like, I have done this. I came down there for training and I knew what it was like. So I was just like, I have to go for it because I'm climbing slower. Like I have to make up time. So I think I was going like 40 miles an hour. Crazy. Flying. And this one guy came behind me and he was like, yo, I followed you. I have never gone that fast. And I was like, there. And so talking to people and whatever on your bike ride and people you're meeting because you're trying to conquer mental fear. Like for me, I was like, I don't even care what happens. I'm not scared of hills descending anymore. Like I've had this fear for what? I'm almost 50 for 30 years.
Wow.
Like, things that you're holding for yourself, heights and things like that from falling off of a bike. Yeah. So once you said that, I was like, I don't even care what happens. I'm proud of my mission accomplished. I think I'm gonna go to Nice. You know what I mean? Like it's fear that you're holding on for years, that's balled up that you can find a release. Sometimes it's just like, it's just worth it for that. Like I wouldn't even do some group rides. I'm like, is it hilly? Yeah, I can't come. I'm not going to be able to keep up. I'm like, no, it's not the climbing, it's the descending. I'm scared.
Wow.
Like I just can't do it. So, sometimes you just like, you know what? I'm just going to try. See what happens. Just keep doing it till you can get through it. So yeah, when you said that, I was just like, you have no idea. This is 30 years.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah. So yeah. The things that you can get through for Ironman, the things that you can accomplish and the people that you meet along the way and the journey, you wind up twinning together. Building a relationship together and then going on next races together. So what's next for both of you? Kelly, we'll start with you. What do you have?
Apparently I have to go to California because she needs my Sherpa. And my husband,
her husband.
Yeah, my husband is an excellent Sherpa. So he helped he was both of our Sherpas in Chattanooga, and he'll do it again. I'm doing Lake Placid again, too, because I can do better. So Lake Placid first. So I think my buildup is Western Mass, into Lake Placid, and then I'm thinking about North Carolina into California.
That's awesome. What about you, Ann?
For me, I'm going to basically do the same things like I did this year, which I didn't do tries really, but I did like separate events. For some reason, I'm loving doing these single bike events. So my next bike event will be in March, the Selma to Montgomery. That's the 51-mile bike ride, but that's hilly. And I do have, and I'm going to be doing all of my other bike rides, like the One Love, which is in Atlanta, which is 5,000 feet elevation, hilly ride. But it's still really a little bit too early. I do think that I'm going to do the half of White Lake, which is local here in North Carolina. But the very next day of White Lake is a really, really tough bike event. So I have one of my cyclist friends that said that they would be like the bike leg for the relay if I do the White Lake, so that way I can get like the 1.2 mile swim and the run in and be able to do the bike, for the next day, because it would just be too much, whereas the White Lake is a flat bike. So not sure, but we're definitely going to Ironman California. I'm excited about that. I can't wait to see and hug all of everybody. And Kelly, can I tell the story about what your husband said when we were in the tent eating?
Of course.
Eating?
Of course.
So after the race, and we're all together and hugged up, and we're at in the finishers tent, and we're having the snacks and stuff afterwards. We say to Richard, Richard, did you eat today? He said, oh, yes, I did. I had breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. I said, you know what, Kelly? You know why he could have 3 meals and snacks, and it was a brisket truck out there? I said, because we was racing all day.
All day. It's our thing.
All day.
All day. It rained all day. We were out there all day.
He said, I don't need anything to eat because I had breakfast, lunch, dinner.
I had some eggs, and then I had a sandwich, and then I had some snacks, and then I went out. I found some people to meet up with for dinner. He'd go to a spot, he'd take some pictures, and then he'd go eat more food.
He had a strategy. You guys had a plan. He had a plan. Pictures, food. I'm not mad at him.
Yeah.
If you're a really good Sherpa, you have to have a plan. So, Well, I want to thank you, ladies, for joining me. This was definitely worth the wait. And it was a lot funnier than I expected. So I appreciate you sharing your journey and sharing what's next. And I know others will be looking forward to hearing a recap of California. Good luck to you both.
Yes, we're in. We'll have to wear matching outfits again.
Yes, you will have to wear matching outfits again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.